You know what finally started changing my life? Not motivation, not discipline, not a morning routine, not a book, not a podcast, not some magical breakthrough moment where everything suddenly clicked. It was boredom. Not the exciting kind. The kind that makes you check your phone every 3 minutes. The kind that makes you wonder if anything you're doing is actually working. The kind that makes you feel like you're wasting your time. Because after years of chasing progress, start noticing something. The things that actually change your life are usually the things that feel least dramatic while you're doing them. The gym doesn't feel life-changing on a random Tuesday. Saving money doesn't feel life-changing when you're putting $20 into an account. Writing a page doesn't feel like you're becoming a writer. Planting a tree doesn't feel like you're growing an orchard. Most meaningful change is completely invisible while it's happening. And that's a problem. Because human beings are wired to respond to visible results. We want proof. We want feedback. We want evidence that the effort is doing something. When we don't get it, we start looking elsewhere. And that's where most people get stuck. Not because they can't do the work, because they can't tolerate how boring real progress actually feels. Section 1. The lie we secretly believe. I think most of us are carrying around a story we never consciously chose. The story goes something like this. When I'm on the right path, it'll feel obvious. You'll know. You'll feel momentum. You'll wake up energized. The results will show up quickly enough to reassure you. Life will provide little signals telling you you're moving in the right direction. The trouble is, that isn't how most worthwhile things work. Imagine planting an apple tree. You dig the hole, you water it, you protect it, you care for it. Then you stare at it, and stare at it, and stare at it for a long time. Nothing appears to be happening. If someone checked in every day and asked, did it become an orchard yet? The question would sound ridiculous. But somehow we do this with our lives constantly. We go to the gym for 2 weeks. Why don't I look different? We start a business. Why isn't it growing? We post videos. Why isn't anyone watching? We start saving. Why am I not financially secure yet? The timeline isn't wrong. Our expectations are. Section 2. The valley nobody shows. One thing I've noticed about successful people is they often tell the story backward. You see the result, then you hear about the journey. But because you already know how the story ends, your brain compresses the timeline. You hear, they worked hard for years. Years. One word, years. A single syllable. What that word actually contains is thousands of ordinary days. Thousands. Wake up, go to work, do the thing, go home, repeat. No soundtrack, no dramatic speech, no movie montage, just repetition. The part nobody celebrates. The valley between starting and succeeding. The valley where most dreams go to die. Not because it's painful, because it's uneventful. It's hard to quit during a crisis. It's easy to quit during a Tuesday, especially the 17th Tuesday in a row. Especially when nothing seems different, especially when nobody's clapping, especially when you're not sure if it's working. That's where the real test happens. Section 3. Progress is usually invisible first. Think about construction. Before a building rises above the ground, an enormous amount of work happens where nobody can see it. Excavation, surveying, foundations, utilities, reinforcement. From the street, it looks like nothing. Sometimes it even looks worse than nothing. It looks like a giant hole. If you didn't know better, you'd think they're going backward. But they're not. They're preparing for weight. Life works the same way. Some seasons are visible growth. Some seasons are foundation building. The problem is we keep judging foundation seasons using growth metrics. We ask, why isn't anything happening? Something is happening. You're becoming the person capable of carrying what's next. The roots are growing, and roots are invisible until they're not. Section 4. My favorite kind of person. One of my favorite kinds of people is someone who quietly keeps showing up. Not flashy, not loud, not constantly announcing their goals, not posting motivational quotes every day, just showing up again and again and again. There's something incredibly powerful about consistency, because consistency is proof, not proof that you'll succeed, proof that you're serious. And seriousness has a gravity to it. Eventually, reality starts responding. Skills compound, relationships compound, knowledge compounds, trust compounds, confidence compounds. Not confidence from affirmations, confidence from evidence. evidence that you survived difficult days before, evidence that you've kept promises to yourself, evidence that you can continue even when you don't feel inspired. That's a different kind of confidence, a sturdier one, less fragile, less dependent on mood. Section 5, the addiction to new beginnings. I think a lot of us secretly love starting. Starting feels amazing. New notebooks, new plans, new projects, new goals, new routines, new identities. Beginnings are exciting because they're full of possibility. Nothing has gone wrong yet. The future is still perfect. But eventually, reality arrives. The novelty fades. The work becomes repetitive. The results slow down. And suddenly, another beginning looks attractive. So we restart and restart and restart. What we're often chasing isn't progress. It's the emotional high of possibility. Real growth requires staying after possibility becomes responsibility. That's where transformation lives. Past the honeymoon phase, past the excitement, past the inspiration, into the boring repetitions. Section 6, the power of tiny wins. The one thing that has helped me enormously is shrinking the scale. When people imagine success, they usually imagine giant outcomes. But giant outcomes are terrible daily goals. You can't control them. You can influence them, but you can't directly control them. What can you control? One workout, one page, one conversation, $1 saved, 1 hour invested, one decision. Tiny wins sound unimpressive until you stack them. Then they become unstoppable. A brick is nothing. 1,000 bricks become a wall. 1,000,000 become a city. Most people underestimate what small actions become when given enough time. Time is the multiplier everyone ignores. Section 7, the day it finally clicked. Something strange happens after enough repetition. You stop asking whether it's working. You just do the work. That shift is powerful because now you're no longer relying on motivation. You're relying on identity. You aren't trying to become someone. You are someone. You aren't trying to be a writer. You write. You aren't trying to be healthy. You train. You aren't trying to be responsible. You save. You aren't trying to improve your life. Improving your life is simply what you do now. The habit becomes part of the architecture of who you are. And once that happens, everything gets easier. Not because the work changed, because the debate ended. Section 8, what most people miss. The funny thing is, the results usually arrive after you've stopped obsessing over them. Not because of magic, because you've finally stayed around long enough. You've accumulated enough repetitions, enough experience, enough practice, enough consistency. The tree finally breaks through the soil. The savings account finally looks meaningful. The audience grows. The weight finally comes off. The relationship finally deepens. The business finally gains traction, and everyone calls it sudden. It wasn't sudden. You were there. You remember the invisible months. You remember the boring days. You remember the work nobody saw. Success often looks overnight from a distance. Up close, it looks like persistence. So if you're in one of those seasons right now, a season where you're doing the work, showing up, trying, building, growing, and it feels like nothing is happening, I want to leave you with this. The absence of visible progress does not mean the absence of progress. Roots grow before branches. Foundations come before buildings. Orchards begin as holes in the ground. Most worthwhile things spend a long time looking like nothing. Keep going. Not because you're guaranteed success. Not because the universe owes you a reward. Not because motivation will magically appear tomorrow. Keep going because repetition changes people. Keep going because consistency compounds. Keep going because the person you're becoming is being built whether you can see it yet or not. And one day you'll look around at a life that seems completely different. People ask how it happened. They'll want the breakthrough, the secret, the trick. And you'll know the answer. It wasn't a breakthrough. It was 1,000 ordinary days that nobody thought mattered until they did. Make progress.